Welcome to Crown Recaps, guys. I'm going to describe Starbuck, a Canadian comedy picture. Keep an eye out and be watchful. David Wozniak is a young Canadian man who lives in Quebec. He earns money by donating sperm to the La France clinic on a regular basis. He is pleasuring himself to photographs of ladies in a magazine at the start of the film, in between one of his visits to the sperm bank. 23 years later, in 2011, the scene changes. David is now in his 40s, yet he still does not have a work. He is awoken by goons to whom he owes $80,000 in debt. They throw him in the tub and threaten to take their money if he doesn't return it. He travels to his parents' butcher business, where he works as a delivery man after the odd morning. He's 4 to 5 minutes late, and he gets yelled at for driving the delivery truck home again. The shop employees, along with his father, are members of a football team that is getting ready to take a team picture the next day. 3 weeks ago, David was told to pick up the jerseys for the photos, but he has yet to do so. Everyone is sick of his not doing what he's told, even if the task is simple. He rushes to the clothing store after work, but the owner happens to be closing it at the time. He pulls his pickup over to the side of the road and asks the owner for the jerseys. The man does it out of compassion, but David receives a parking penalty as a result. He then goes to numerous banks to get a loan to pay off his bills. He does not, however, have the necessary collateral for the loan to be approved. After several rejections, he returns home and calls his co-worker to inform him that the jerseys have arrived. The person on the other end of the line is wary, knowing David isn't trustworthy. Outside, the traffic cops take his truck away since he has too many parking tickets. The team had to take pictures without their jerseys because they were still in the truck. Even though they are accustomed to his actions, everyone is disappointed with David. Following that, David visits his lover Valerie at her home. She works as a cop and is far more financially self-sufficient than David. Valerie is upset because he hasn't spoken to her in a few days. She reveals that she is pregnant as David tries to explain himself. The revelation catches David off guard. He can't decide whether he loves or dislikes the news. Valerie notices his hesitation and declares that she will keep the child whatever. Following the interaction, David goes to see the lawyer, a friend of his. The lawyer has 4 children, none of whom will listen to him. He has been troubled by fatherhood and advises David against ever having children. David, on the other hand, wants to be a father. He's just not sure if now is the right time. He goes to Valerie's office the next morning and tells her that he is ready to be a father to their child. When he arrives home, he is greeted by Chamberlain, a man dressed in a suit. He is the attorney representing the clinic where David donated sperm. David contributed sperm to the bank under the name Starbuck between 1988 and 1990. Over the course of 23 months, he donated over 693 times. Because of an error, the corporation gave David's sperm to all of its clients, and as a result, he has fathered 533 children. 142 of them are curious about his identity. However, David signed a confidentiality agreement before each donation, stating that the clinic is not allowed to share his personal information. As a result, the 142 children who want to learn more about their father have sued the company and their confidentiality clause in order to obtain information about David. When David hears all of this, he freaks out and declares that he is not Starbuck. After the encounter, he goes to see his lawyer friend and informs him of the situation. The lawyer advises David to file a countersuit against the clinic in order to recover some money, but David refuses. He scribbles down all of the details of the sperm donation process and hands David an envelope containing information on all of his children. David decides to look at a document inside the package the next morning out of curiosity. Ricardo Donatelli, a star football player, is profiled in the newspaper he pulls out. David knows he is the father of one of his favorite players and tells the lawyer right away. They attend Ricardo's game and support him. David is proud of his genes now that he knows the player is his kid. He had decided not to get involved in his children's lives at first, but his curiosity got the best of him. The following day, he takes out a second newspaper and teaches about Etienne, his son who works in a restaurant. When David arrives at the restaurant, he finds Etienne on the phone arguing with someone. He turns out to be a failing actor who has just missed an audition for a major role due to his busy schedule. David volunteers to look after the apartment while he attends the audition. Etienne believes he is a thief on the lookout for a new way to rob their store. However, when he is offered the delivery truck to accompany him to the audition, he accepts. After a while, the restaurant's owner arrives and informs David that Etienne will be fired. After several hours, Etienne returns and announces that he has gotten the part. David is pleased that he was able to influence his son's life in some way. He pulls up the third page late at night and learns about his daughter Julie. As a pizza delivery guy, he goes to her house and finds her on the phone, ranting at someone. She locks herself in a room and overdoses on a narcotic while he is still at home. David gets her to the hospital as soon as possible. Julie is taken to a rehabilitation center the next day, where everyone assumes he is her father. Julie keeps the truth hidden because she wants David to sign the release papers as her father and set her free. David speaks with a doctor and attempts to persuade Julie to remain in rehab. However, the girl pledges that she would be better outdoors because she recently received her dream job and does not want to lose it. David finally chooses to let her go. He goes to her workplace the next morning and sees that she has begun the job as promised. When he gets home, he pins the papers with the information about his children on the wall and goes to meet them one by one. Some have gone on to become nail technicians, musicians, lifeguards, and tour guides, among other things. He meets everyone and goes out of his way to assist them if they require assistance. Valerie pays him a call at the shop and invites him to accompany her to the doctor. They went to a park to watch youngsters play after their doctor's appointment. Valerie is terrified of the pregnancy and believes she is unable to be a mother. David, on the other hand, assures her that he will be the best father possible. The next day, he learns that one of his children, Raphael, has a disability. He visits a home for challenged persons and speaks cautiously with his son. Raphael notices that someone is nearby, but due to his condition, he is unable to speak or respond. David spends the entire day talking to him, despite the fact that he is unable to respond. During his lunch break, he also feeds Raphael. Next day, while following his other son, David finds himself at a gathering arranged by all of the children born as a result of Starbuck's action. David stands up unintentionally as he sees all of his children in one spot. He is presented with a microphone and asked to talk. David expresses his affection for them and offers a moving speech about how they are all siblings. He meets Julia, Etienne, and other youngsters he has aided after the program. To conceal his true identity, he poses as Raphael's adoptive father. The children have developed a sort of community and have begun to interact with one another like half-siblings. When David returns home that day, the goons to whom he owes money throw him into the bathtub once more. One of his sons, Antoine, arrives to his residence late at night after learning of his true identity. He claims he doesn't want to divulge David's identity to the public and is simply interested in spending time with his biological father for a few days. David agrees to let him remain at his house for the night. That day, he and Valerie are going to his parents' house for dinner. David's father tells them about the time David bought them tickets to Italy as the table breaks in cheerful conversation. David used all of the money he earned from giving sperm to take his parents on a vacation because they hadn't been able to go on their honeymoon. Despite the fact that no one knows whence he received the money, his thoughtfulness is praised. Valerie has a new perspective on David now that she knows what he has done for his family. After that, David and Antoine spend a father-son day at football practice. The day goes smoothly until David announces that now that Valerie is pregnant, he must attend to his true family. David's children plan a picnic for the next day. As siblings, they sing, dance, eat together, and have a lot of fun. The narrative of Starbuck, on the other hand, captures the media's attention the day after the tragedy. Despite the fact that the kids had no intention of making Starbuck look bad, the media portrays him as a pervert who exploited his sexuality to gain money. When David asks Valerie her opinion of Starbuck, she says he reminds her of a prostitute. The two have a disagreement regarding the subject. The team is talking about Starbuck one day before a football session. David's teammates all regard him as a monster and a pervert. His brother inquires if he has ever donated, but David claims that he has never done so. When they suspect he is lying, the conversation becomes heated. David comes dangerously close to attacking his sibling and must be prevented by the others. He learns that the goons he owes money threatened his father and attempted to drown him in the bathtub later that evening. His entire family will suffer if he does not pay off his obligations as quickly as possible. As a result, David visits his lawyer and informs him that he intends to file a countersuit against the clinic for using his sperms in an unethical manner. He expects that if he wins the lawsuit, the clinic will compensate him financially. The lawyer is overjoyed to have gotten a large case that, if he wins, will earn him recognition. They put in a lot of effort over the next few days to build a compelling case. Play football in the pouring rain the night before the ruling to ease stress. Finally, the judge declares that Starbuck is fully entitled to his anonymity, implying that the children will not see their biological father unless he chooses to do so voluntarily. In addition, David is entitled to a total of $200,000 in damages and interest. While the lawyer is surrounded by reporters congratulating him on his victory, David celebrates from his home. He expresses his gratitude to his mother and children, as well as David, who he mistakenly mentions. When the media inquire about David, he responds that he is his boyfriend. The Kins are also polled about their thoughts and feelings towards Starbuck. They claim that, while they would like to visit their father, they understand if he prefers to go about his life as usual. They also claim that Starbuck is not the freak or pervert portrayed in the media. In fact, the children believe he is a good man who has given them life and the opportunity to be happy. David watches the interview and regrets the fact that he will never be able to be a father to all of his biological children. He wants to meet them as their father, but he's afraid that if he does, he won't get the compensation money. He talks with the lawyer, who affirms that revealing his true identity as Starbuck is a huge danger. David returns home that day to find his father waiting for him in the kitchen. David introduces himself as Starbuck while they converse. His father is neither disappointed nor sad, as he had expected. In fact, he encourages David to tell the truth to everyone. He also leaves his son a portion of the butcher shop's legacy of $80,000 to his son. David emails all of his children about his true identity now that he has enough money to pay off his debt. Valerie goes into premature labor that night and gives birth to a healthy baby boy. David's father, brothers, and several of his children visit him in the hospital to express their joy. In a large group hug, they embrace each other. David informs Valerie that he is Starbuck. She initially freaks out, but she soon accepts him for who he is. All of the baby's half-siblings give him several gifts. We see David and the kids in the subway at the end, supporting one of their brothers who is a singer. This is Crown Recap signing off. Subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this, switch on notifications, and leave a like to support the channel. Thank you for taking the time to watch.